we don't really have a lot of time.
Yeah.
You have the mic?
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, take charge.
I got it. I don't think I need to be on the stage. All right. Good evening, everyone. Once again, those of you who are not attending the BoF, I'll request you, because we need to discuss things and the room is really big enough, really too big, where we may not hear each other. Yeah, defragmentation.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay.
Not do it.
Okay.
Can you say something if they're saying the sound is not clear on Adobe? Can you just say something on the mic? Testing.
Testing for remote participants.
It sounded like the first one.
How many do we have remote?
14. It's clear. Good. Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll start. Good evening, everyone. I realize that it's quite late in the day. So, this is the third time that we are running the APNIC Community Trainers BoF. It's supposed to be a BoF, but I'll keep it short. Well, most of you who are a part of the Community Trainers program, you already know why we run this. But for the benefit of those who are interested and wondering why we run this, that's because the community is important. You are important. The community being you, right? You are operationally active. I was once in operations. I left operations about 2.5 years ago. So me, as a part of the training team and the technical assistance team, when I go around the region and teach, what I teach may not necessarily be current, may not be relevant to that particular economy. Technically, it might be accurate, it might be correct, but I may not be able to match it to the local challenges, may not be able to make it relevant to the local ecosystem. So that's why we are seeking your help, because you know what is relevant within your ecosystem, within your locality. You have local knowledge. I'll repeat what I said in the previous BoFs. I'm originally from the Himalayas. When I go and help the Pacific, I really don't understand the challenges of Pacific countries, right? Whereas if we have a Pacific community trainer or a Pacific volunteer, they can bring in the local perspectives. We will share the technical knowledge. And that's how we are able to custom deliver what is relevant to that local ecosystem, right? So that's the reason why we run this program. A quick look at how 2018 was for us. We ran about 65 face-to-face trainings, attended by more than 2,000 participants across 35 different locations in Asia Pacific. All this with 3 members in the team, including myself, right? E-learning sessions, we delivered 66 e-learning sessions attended by more than 350 remote participants. And we also have our YouTube channel, which is viewed by more than 60,000 participants. We delivered 4 technical assistance, focusing mostly on V6 deployment and in some cases, IXP automation. Right? So the problem was this. We barely managed to do this with the resource that we had. So how do we scale? How do we make sure that we are able to serve our members that are spread across 56 economies? Right? Then our academy started, right? Our academy was launched, and at the moment we have 5 courses, and we have about 10 webinars, right? The idea was to help scale our face-to-face delivery. Cover the fundamentals in the academy so that when we do deliver the face-to-face, we can actually make efficient use of our time, right? But this takes time to develop too. It's not as simple as we take our slides, push it up to the academy. Our curriculum team requires so much time to develop this content, the academy content, right? So the idea is there, the tool is there, but it's still difficult for us to try and reach out, try and serve our members, right? And that's where our request comes to you. Please help us help you better. Please join the team, right? First thing you could do, the most obvious one, is to help us deliver our face-to-face trainings in almost every part of the region. Last year, we could only do it in 35 locations within the Asia-Pacific region. Ideally, we would like to be in every economy where we have our members at least once in a year, but we can't do that with the limited resources that we have. Right? So that's one request. So the idea is we would like to have community trainers nicely spread across the region so that whenever there are events within that region, we can then take your help to deliver these trainings on our behalf. Initially, we will start off, we will handhold you. We won't just directly throw you. You will travel with us, we will mentor you initially, but once we are confident that you can lead it on your own, we will let you lead courses in those regions, right? And it's not only about delivering trainings. It's also about you helping us identify new content that the community needs. Right? Tell us what is needed in your economy. We can't assume we know what you want. Right? You know what is needed in that particular economy. So your help could also translate to you identifying what content is relevant in your economy or within your sub-region. And also, if you're an expert in that field, you also help us develop those contents. Right? And once someone develops that new content, we would still want to make sure that it's technically accurate. So we might again ask your help to validate what someone has developed. Right? So that's why we are running this Community Trainers program. Right? Again, this is based on the feedback we received when we ran the first Community Trainers BoF last year at Kathmandu. Few of the community trainers in the room, I think it was Anurag, I'll name names here, who said, every time we deliver a training, questions generally tend, the participants, once they are back home, and if they have questions, they generally tend to send it to that particular instructor only. Right? Questions, follow-up questions. So instead, Anurag suggested, why don't we have a common mailing list? So we have this mailing list active now, communitytrainers@apnic.net. The idea is from going forward, whenever we deliver trainings, we will be sharing this with our participants. If they have any questions, they'll send it to this mailing list. And our current and new community trainers will all be a part of this mailing list. So that way, you have different perspectives to a problem that a participant might raise. Right? So with that, since this is a BoF, I really don't want to talk so much. With that, I would like to request a few of our existing community trainers and new community trainers to share their experience. With that, I would like to ask Simon Bhai to kick it off, followed by maybe Anurag, and then Moin Bhai is here in the room. Who else volunteered? Awal Bhai. Okay, thank you. So we are trying to get, I know this seems a bit too South Asia focused, but no one, Jetro, our community trainer from Pacific, couldn't make it, so apologize. And our Southeast Asian community trainers couldn't make it. So Simon, by all yours.
This one is right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Tashi. So I have a very small journey with APNIC regarding this community trainer. Tashi was requesting, why not like you share your experience. With this community trainer, first we try to find out like why we need this community trainer. So my next thing is why the community trainers is there, right? Why we exist. The thing is that, I don't know, I always try to sit in that chair, not with this chair, because I always try to give the feedback from the community. Even like what I'm doing with APNIC, everything is related to community. So I'm a community from the ASOAC, I'm also representing the community, also from the training I'm representing the community. So that's why community, we need community. When Tashi requested me on that day was 21st February, and that was the International Mother Language Day. That was the day we were doing our workshop in IPv6 deployment. Then I tried to find out, yes, that is the problem. We have a language which is internationally marked, but not even like, sorry to say, Paul, but our APNIC website doesn't have Bangla language. Even like not with APNIC, not even like ITU, who granted this one, but not have this Bengali language. So language is a problem. The language I'm showing here is Ma Ami Tomake Bhalobashi. Shumon Bhai is laughing because he knows the Bengali. If you Google translate this one, after translation it will give Mother I love you. Right? Good. You will, after you translate this one, you will feel like this kind of picture. Yes, fine, it's very good. But is this Ma Ami Tomake Bhalobashi is only used for Mother I love you? No. It's sometimes your father is telling your daughter, Ma Ami Tomake Bhalobashi. This is also used in Bengali. In our national anthem, there is a line, Omago. So that is we are telling our country as a mother. So language barrier is one of the biggest barrier for a trainer. When Tashi or like myself, when I went to Thailand, it is one of the biggest barrier because even like if you go to the shop, you cannot say those Thai language. So, and if your students are from Thai, they don't want to listen English. So language barrier is one of the biggest barrier for a community trainer. Second thing is that these are not a trainee, but these are all trainers somewhere, somehow in APNIC. You see, if a community gathers in now, one from Nepal, one from Bhutan, some from Bangladesh, some from India, some from Australia, some from Sri Lanka, how can you train these people together? So cultural diversity is a very, very big problem for us. There are also very, very big cultural diversity in there, and there are also some of the cultural problems are there. If you go to some countries, some girls, they always want girls teacher, right? Some girls, they always want to sit beside a girl. How can you mitigate that one? That has become a big problem for us. Then there is gender, right? If you see the community trainer, I think we don't have any female community trainer. So, but to mitigate these things, we really need some female community trainers. So address this kind of cultural problem. We face so much problem in every places. So the gender problem is there. Then there are cultural diversity problem is there. Then if you see this picture, this is APNIC 42. Can you imagine, Wahani is laughing because she was in this picture. How many students are there? So there are 145 students. And they came from telecom, they came from ISPs, they came from IXPs. Some of them from government, some of them from telecom regulators, some of them from universities, some of them from RNEs. If you have this diverse amount of students, then you are in a big faulty position. Because government thinks in a government way, telecom thinks in a telecom way. If you are an ISP, then he thinks in a different way. RNE doesn't think in any of the way. RNE think is always they want to have a research. So matching all these requests and matching all the question and answering them is a big problem. And if you have this large amount of audience, I think it's a very massive problem for us. Even like on that time, Papu was in APNIC, he had 79 students in his one class. So that's a big problem for us. Then if you think about APNIC, from the right side to the left side, APNIC has 56 economies and there are 70 NIRs. If you send a ping from the right side to the left side, then it will take at least like 240 milliseconds. It's a huge area. For APNIC, sitting in Australia, at the very left side, it's not possible to go all the ways, right? So covering for community trainers, without community trainers, it's a big problem. So that's why we need community trainers. And the last not the least, we need operational experience. You know, when teachers, like I told you about the universities, all the RNEs, when they do something, they write something, they think in that way. Yes, in 4G, I have like 20 Mbps of bandwidth at my cell phone. In 5G, that should be 50. But is it possible? Is it really necessary? They don't think. But the operational experience is the real experience. Every day they face some problems, and every day they can get some easy access. Sometimes, like last in a Sanog, there was a talk called Jugaad mentality. So the operation people has that Jugaad mentality. Anyway, if the fiber is cut at the midnight, they will reconnect that one. So the trainers need to have that operational experience. That's why we need community trainers. So these are the problems always we face: language barrier, cultural diversity, so large content, large number of audience, and then operational experience. These are the challenges we face every day. And that is why the only solution we found is the community trainers. So if the community trainers can come, and then we want that, like my dream was that from every country, at least like we have a 1+1, 2 community trainers as a redundant. So then that's why we can cover the whole continent. Thank you, Tashi.
One slide back, 2 slide back. Okay. Can you get the slide back? Thank you, Simon Bai. That was really good. I just wanted to talk about, since you mentioned operational experience, this is a good experience of how not to do cabling, all right? I just wanted to pick on that. I hope you don't mind, right? It matters, right? Only teaching how-tos are too straightforward, too easy, right? It's through experience you know how not to do also. So if anyone hadn't done cabling in their life, we assume that everything is nicely cabled, as if some elves would come and do it at night, right? So Simon Bai, good picture of how not to do cabling. Thank you. Simon Bai, sorry.
Philip seems to be support to get us.
Yeah. So with that, thank you, Simon Bai. Next, Anurag, if you would like to share your experience as a APNIC community trainer. I'll share how we have improved things based on your feedback. So if you could share your experience, thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, Tashi. My name is Anurag, and since Simon had a slide with APNIC 42, it was interesting because I was just searching my mails a couple of minutes back to find which was the conference when I started as community trainer, and it happened to be APNIC 42. So it was fun back then. What is special about participating as community trainer is, one part is to meet such a diversified set of people and find how they do things. it's kind of interesting to understand what they think about BGP, what they think about routing, how they think about IPv6. The other thing which I often like when at a training is talking about the operational side of things, talking about how routing in real world is like, how IPv6 in real world is like, and the technologies are, and the options which are available, and the tools which are available to make things simple. That's always a fun part. I often end the trainings taking permission from Apenic trainers to talk about things like BG Play. You have a nice graph of ASNs doing announcements and giving a real feel of how the world in BGP looks like, rather than just talking about the topologies in lab. We often talk about RIPE Atlas project when ending up a training session. It's always fun to introduce various participants that there are tools available to do trace routes from various locations. There are tools available using which they can analyze their network. They can analyze routing towards their network. So in that way, I think it's much more fun, where you can add much more dynamic content against the standard content of a basic topology-based training. Speaking of specifically about that topology, speaking specifically about those protocols, and always add more of those things. Recently, I've seen Jordi participating with more and more IPv6 only network deployments. So it's always fun with Joule and other tools he's using. That's another part of it. So I think it's a really good platform, and I really wish it goes on, because probably to get things changed or get things updated or get things added in Appenic's course would be very hard, against just having an informal set of sessions within a training to talk about various tools, whether it's about BG Play or whether it's about IPv6 in real world, or whether it's about Oregon route views. That's again one of the things. So yeah, I very much enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag. Anyone has any questions for him? Okay, since we are quite short of time, Moin Bhai, can I request you to share your experience as a Apenic community trainer, what you like, what you don't like?
Thank you, Tashi. So I have been actually in the Apenic community trainer from 2015, I believe. The first time was in Indonesia. As Simon has already said, the language barrier. Yep, I faced it the first time. It was actually a huge barrier, because it was my first time with the training, and mostly the people were from Indonesia, and we faced lots of problems, but somehow there are other Apenic staffs and training members who were helping me out. So then I was in Taiwan, Nepal, I think once in India, and the training in Malaysia a couple of times. So the fun part is actually, while we are giving training, we are not actually giving training, we are also learning. What happens is, it's not like that when you are training, it means that you are a subject matter expert of it. Definitely you have a very good, powerful capacity of delivering to other people and making people understand, but sometimes you learn so many things by being on the training side. So that is a plus point for you, because you can learn some more stuff. So it's not only about traveling, it's not only about enjoying the classes. So you can learn, you can share, and moreover, it is for the overall community. So I would request more people to come into the community training program. And one more thing is, I face it regularly, this question like, what happens and like how it is, you are being traveled, so how it is the payments you are getting or something like that. It's actually not about payment, it's not about money, it's about enjoying the time. Because we come to the conference to enjoy and have a discussion with same like-minded people, so we can talk nerd. So rather than figuring out the monetary version of this training program, please concentrate on like how you can really enjoy your time being here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Moin Bhai. Two takeaways from Anurag and Moin Bhai's talk was content. There are many training institutes, not APNIC is a registry. This is a value adds to our membership. So we definitely recognize that there are better training institutes out there who might. But what we are trying to do from having this group of operationally active and diverse backgrounds, people from diverse backgrounds, is we can create a niche out there. There is a gap out there that needs to be filled. Vendors have good trainings. Universities have good courses. But there is this gap about operational things that are missing and sharing those experiences because we don't teach students. We train engineers who run networks who might know things more than us. Like Moin Bhai said, it's not only about us teaching them, it could also be about learning from them, taking that experience across to other regions, other parts of the region. Borrowing heavily from today's keynote, it's also about human networking. So with that, Awal Bhai, oh, right here, sorry. Awal Bhai, if you could share something about why you joined this program.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Awal. I'm from Bangladesh. I guess my previous speakers actually covered pretty much everything. So I feel like I would like to believe that internet is built by communities and it's just sharing knowledge. So it's impossible for us alone to know everything. You need to go to your friends and ask for something that you don't know, and they will actually guide you because they probably have the right answer for that. Without talking to each other, without having a community, sharing knowledge and helping each other, you won't be able to build a internet that is for the people, for the users to use. We train not only in APNIC platform, we train in different platforms, and the only thing in my mind personally is to learn from the participants, because I always believe that there is every participant has something which is better than what I know. So it's an unique opportunity. It's to learn from the participants. Also, we have our local NOGs where we do trainings. Whatever we learn from here, we go there and we deliver them. That's how we build our network. That's how internet should be. So I'm thankful for that. Thanks to the participants who come to our classes and share their experiences. Like we had been here during the CNDO workshop. So we ask people, participants, to share their experience in terms of what they learn and what improvement opportunities they have. It was beautiful. Like many people could identify what the weaknesses are and how they can do the improvements. It feels so good to me that I am contributing to them, or maybe they are also contributing something back to us. This is invaluable. You cannot measure this with anything. So yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Awal Bhai. So yeah, I would like to once again request the community we understand you have a day job. Yes, this is a voluntary program. We are requesting you to volunteer your time to help us bring up this region. For too long, I think Asia Pacific has been playing the catch-up game. So if we help each other, I think we can catch up pretty quick. Yes, just because someone started 20 years before us doesn't necessarily make them, we need to bring up the whole region together. So it's a request if you could volunteer your time. So with that, before I wrap up, I would like to request Paul if you would like to add something.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul. I've been at the head of APNIC for quite some time now. And I just wanted to say first how good it is to see this session and how much interest there is, because it's always really been a dream of mine over many years to see APNIC kind of fostering and supporting a training community. You know, we've got an extremely large region. We're one of 5 RARs, but you know, this is what we heard before. APNIC covers half of the world's population, and when you think of the amount of internet growth that's happening here compared with either saturated markets in Europe and America or the emerging markets, the growth is really happening here. So I think we've got way more than half of the world's internet growth, and this huge challenge to keep supporting the growth of the internet. And I think, as operators know, you know, everyone's concerned about security these days, but security is about what you know. And the difference between having a secure network and having an insecure network is not about, you know, it's not about paying for fancy equipment and expensive experts. It's about training the people to really do the job as well as possible. And the difference between an insecure and a secure system is just whether or not people know what they're doing. And so it's actually, you know, more and more important, not just with growth of the net, but with the growth of the challenge. And so, like I say, it's really fantastic to see this, because it was never the intention, even though it's been quite a few years, it was never the intention to just have this training team at APNIC in Australia trying to cover the region. I mean, it's a ridiculous sort of idea. I mean, we tried hard for a long time, and it's amazing the number of miles that were done by people like Champika, who a lot of you know, but the current team, Tashi and Jessica and now Warren, and you know, they work really hard and do a fantastic job, and it's always fantastic to see how well known and regarded they are. But they can't cover it all. It's why we've always put a lot of effort into NOGs, into the training workshops at the conferences as well, because you know, we want to go where people are, where people are congregating, and really make the best use of people coming together. And so that's the way we've been doing it as well, of course. But you know, this community of community trainers is really the next step, and I think although Tashi has mentioned the voluntary nature of it, I mean, APNIC's sort of works on a cost recovery basis for this training, but we want to professionalise as well. So it's not that we're trying to save all of the APNIC members' money. I mean, we know that there's strong interest and strong demand, and so professionalising and creating a professional team is also really part of what needs to happen. So you know, thanks so much to the community trainers who joined already and who've been volunteering in many cases, and for anyone else who's interested in joining. I mean, I'd be very, very happy. I know there's a challenge, and Chi Hu will be scared to hear it, but I'd be happy to really have a much larger group of community trainers to really build this around the region. And just to mention as well, I mean, the amount of work we're doing will grow, because you may all have heard about the APNIC Foundation, but the foundation has been established as a fundraising exercise, a fundraising arm for APNIC, to allow us to keep answering more of the challenge, because we're always asked to do more, to keep doing more without just always relying on member funds, because you know, APNIC members have been very generous in supporting a lot of training around the region, even where a lot of individual members might not need it, but they still help to pay for it. But sort of there's a limit to that. So the idea of the foundation is that a lot of other people are very interested in seeing secure and good and healthy internet development, you know, development agencies and others who we've been working with. And so we know that those resources are available, and what we can do is ramp up and really scale up and continue to professionalise with support from the foundation. And so one good example was, you might have heard about the training project that happened in PNG and in Papua New Guinea, and will still keep going on this year. But the training team and the foundation team organised a series of 16 workshops in the space of a few months in PNG before the APEC summit last year. It was kind of a critical time to be trying to build some more security and stability for the providers there. But they were able to organise this fantastic series of workshops on network operations and security, and to bring in people. I mean, again, it's not APNIC staff who are doing this, but we're really trying to manage and to make it happen, but to bring in the trainers and the experts to do that training. And we could be doing that in more countries, in more places, not only with APNIC member funds, but like I say, if the foundation is able to raise those project funds, and then more can happen. So we really need a kind of a big army of if that's the right word, of community trainers, and anyone who's interested in joining the effort, really, please sign up. And thanks in advance.
Thank you, Paul. I think we still have about a quarter. So anyone? Oh yeah, Jehus, please, if you could say something. Thank you so much.
I just want to add, we of course don't want you to feel there are any barriers for you to join the program. So at least we'll provide the travel costs. We'll cover the travel costs, so you don't need to worry about that part. And also we'll pay a little bit of honorarium, to pay a bit of your time. So this is kind of incentive for you and removing the barrier. And on the other side is the content side. We don't need you to develop the content for the training. We'll provide the content. Of course, we want you to help us to improve it, but when you deliver it, supposedly there will be a standard content for you, and supposedly there will be like instructor notes. So there will be very little barriers for you to help us to do the training delivery. I just want to add these 2 points.
So thank you. That should encourage more to participate. This room is full of people that I know who run networks, and yeah, Anurag, you want to add something?
Trainers are there right now.
So before the end of the year, we added 8 new community trainers, but a disclaimer here, you're a part of the team, but we can only engage you where we have events within those regions. So we have 6 existing community trainers, we added 8, so that's about 14 community trainers, at least on record. So the idea is, like Paul said, the idea is as much as possible, where possible, we keep growing this network of community trainers. And many of you in this room, I know you run networks. Please, throughout the workshop week, that was what I was requesting, please share your experience, be a part of this community. We're helping the region. I'm sure many of you work with our security team also, there Adlibai and Jamie and others. So please, we need specialists, we need people from different field of expertise. So as you see, we have, the survey shows we need to help the region in security, we need to help the region in V6 deployment, but not everyone has the same set of skills, all the skills. So if you with different skill sets could join the team, that would be really awesome. So with that, if anyone has anything to add, Jack, do you want to say something? Would you like to volunteer? No, I'm just picking on Jack. He's from Chungwa Telecom. He has been in the workshop with us throughout the week, and I have been requesting him to share his experience. Jack, anything?
Actually, hello everyone. Actually, I'm not a volunteer right now, but I'm going to join Tashin. Yeah, and I will try it. So, give me a try to do that. All right? Yeah. So I think it's a very good idea. I'm from the Chungwa Telecom, which is the largest service provider in Taiwan. And we just deployed V6 by dual stake for the service to our residential customers. So I think we have lots of V6 things to share. Okay, no matter it's maintenance or some kind of deployment Also, lots of maintenance, I think so. So if I have a chance to share, I would like to do it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jack. And diversity. At the moment, our community trainer pool is mostly guys, right? Male. It's good to have, I see lots of ladies here, many faces that I know. From Mongolia, we have Tuksor and her colleagues here. Please join the team, share your experience. Like Simon mentioned, in some places where we have more women participants, they would like to see, they would like a role model to look up to. And please share your experience. I would request, please, especially we would like to add at least half. Ideally, it would be nice if half the community trainer pool is all female and the other half is male. So to the ladies in this room, I would like to request, please volunteer your time, join the team. And talking of diversity, since big fella Saya is here from the Pacific, we always have problems because we at the moment have only one community trainer from the Pacific. And like I said earlier, me as someone from the Himalayas, I have no idea about the challenges of the island nations. So I would like to request not only to spread the word, but if you could also volunteer your time. Since you're here in the room, if you would like to add something.
Yeah, thanks. I will definitely spread the word amongst my colleagues, but yeah, I'll see what happens.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, big fella. Thank you so much. So I think with that, thank you everyone for coming in. As a community volunteers, I see Harvey sitting here, I see Masan there. There's seniors in the community, yet they are at every event volunteering their time. I see them in very far-flung places. So use them as an example. They have a day job, yet they are helping out the community. So we have good role models within the community that we can look up to. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And with that, maybe we all head up to the social, yeah? I'm loud enough, it's okay. Yeah, so any questions from online?
No, but they can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, the mic is back. So I won't, who was saying that I won't stand between the social and you all. So yeah, thank you once again for your time. Let's all go to the social. Thank you so much.